Ladies and gentlemen, my name is David Brooks. Thank you very much. And I wrote a book, and its title is Foresthill, a public defender's bedtime reader. And I wrote that book because I needed to write some bedtime stories for some motorcycle enthusiast friends of mine. So a young man here asked if I would read Officer Fuzzy. Officer Fuzzy is a police dog who was on patrol for a number of years in this county. He is not on patrol anymore. And this is a compilation of some of the stories about Officer Fuzzy, and it contains some courtroom transcript. Hello, children. Tonight's bedtime story is about a scary dog. Police dogs are rated by the folks who initially train them, and they are priced accordingly. Since the cops who use them put a lot of their own money into buying dogs, they sometimes go bargain shopping. I'm told that one pooch barely made the cut and was almost pet quality. I suppose you can only expect so much from a police dog named Officer Fuzzy. As soon as Officer Fuzzy was sent to patrol duty, he and his handler were often in court on some interesting cases. In the first case, Officer Fuzzy was sent into a bedroom to drag out a man who was hiding under a bed. That's a really good use of a dog. The guy was inside a sleeping bag. What Officer Fuzzy was supposed to do was bite, hold, and drag. What Officer Fuzzy did was bite the guy through the bag dozens of times, just hard enough to break the skin. The guy received hundreds of tiny puncture wounds, sort of like eating corn on the cob, and as a result, the suspect was very leaky. In his next case, Officer Fuzzy alerted on a car during a traffic stop. The officer searched and discovered nothing more dangerous than a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken on the back floorboard. Well, the search was at lunchtime. Officer Fuzzy and handler responded to a call of a man with a knife. On arrival, the guy with the knife had slashed himself and was acting crazy in the front yard. He refused to listen to the officers. He was pointing a TV remote at the officers and appeared to be trying to change channels. Can't really blame him there. The guy's wife was in the yard, and she followed instructions to get behind a police car. The officers drew weapons and offered to shoot the guy if he didn't behave. The guy responded by pleading to be shot. The wife screamed at the guy to follow instructions. Officer Fuzzy became overexcited and attacked the wife, biting her in the leg. The officer dealt with the crazy guy, then was able to get his dog off of the wife. The handler wrote a report saying that the lady asked for it because she got too excited and didn't follow the instructions to settle down. In his next case, Officer Fuzzy and handler responded to a little old lady calling 911. She said that a strange man walked into her semi-rural home and acted disoriented. She took him by the arm and showed him the door. He left, but was staring at nothing as he walked into her yard that was overgrown with tall weeds. The handler testified at a hearing. Me. When you arrived, you didn't see anything? Cop. The grass was very tall and no one was visible. Me. So you therefore sent your dog out, quote, to make contact with anyone who might be there? Cop. Yes. Me. What's a contact? Cop. You know, like a contact. Me. Does a contact involve teeth? Cop. Well, yes. Me. So you sent the dog out to bite anybody you found? Cop. Yes. Did you have any idea about who was out there? Cop. Well, maybe the guy who wandered into the house was there. Me. Did your dog find a guy and bite him? Cop. Yes, the dog bit him on the hip. Me. The dog bit whomever it found in the ass, not the hip. Isn't that true? DA. Objection. Argumentative. Judge. Oh no. We'll be hearing this one all the way through. Cop. Well, sort of. Me. I see then you told the dog to release. Then what happened? Cop. The suspect failed to comply and placed his hand in the area of his hip. Me. As if the man was checking to see if he still had an ass? Cop. Well, that's one way to look at it. Me. So you told Officer Fuzzy to bite him again? Cop. Yes, the dog made contact with an alternative zone. Me. Doesn't that mean your dog bit the guy's balls? Cop, well, yes. But after that, the suspect then attacked my dog and failed to comply with instructions. Judge, ow! Me, you mean the guy did what he could to pry the dog's jaws off of his balls? Cop, yes, but the dog was assaulted. Me, did you really tell the guy that if he stood still, you'd call off the dog? Cop, yes. Me, did that make sense to you at the time? Cop, yes. Me, having some opportunity to reflect on your command that a guy with a German Shepherd hanging off of his testicles needed to hold still, does your command still make sense? Cop, sure. Judge, really? Me, why'd you then club the suspect with a baton? Cop, the taser might have hurt my dog. Judge, okay, we're going to take a 15-minute recess. During that time, the first 10 minutes will be used by the district attorney for reflection. The last 5 minutes will be devoted to an equitable case resolution. You shall advise me of the terms of this resolution when I return to the bench. Well, as it turned out, my original proposal of having the defendant sent to a locked psych hospital for evaluation and the case dumped seemed to be what the DA wanted to do all along. Things went from bad to worse. Officer Fuzzy next surfaced when he arrived at the tail end of a police chase. A motorcyclist attempted to outrun the police, but crashed into a guardrail instead. The rider was staggering around and wasn't responsive to commands. Officer Fuzzy was ordered to bite and hold the suspect, and the dog eagerly complied. Unfortunately, Officer Fuzzy couldn't recall his release command, and the handler couldn't get the dog off. The handler was unwilling to reach in and try to pry Fuzzy's jaws apart because the handler would most likely have been bit. Reluctantly, the handler elected to use the taser on poor Fuzzy. It worked like a charm, but once he'd recovered, Fuzzy kept giving his handler a mean sidelong glance. Not long after, Officer Fuzzy and his handler responded to a firefight. A meth-crazed young man had already killed a family member and then hunkered down into a well-supplied bunker. It was time to deploy the weapons platform that was Officer Fuzzy. Officer Fuzzy was ordered to go to work. He hesitated for a moment and then bit his handler in the leg. The handler jumped up and was promptly shot. Officer Fuzzy took a round as well. A fusillade of small arms fire from assembled law enforcement dispatched the bad guy. Officer Fuzzy and the handler were both life-flighted, and they recovered swiftly. The handler was decorated, promoted, and returned to light-duty assignment. Officer Fuzzy was retired with a special feel-good public relations ceremony that was well attended. I was feeling a little better knowing that Officer Fuzzy was off patrol, but a chill went down my spine when I saw this morning's paper. I spit a mouthful of coffee across the table. There was a photo of Officer Fuzzy, decorated hero, parading past a host of second graders who were all extending their hands to stroke his soft fur. Officer Fuzzy, local hero, had a new community relations job. Holy moly, I hope that they're feeding that dog well. Maybe they could supply the second grade teacher with a taser. In future times, people who are now unborn will know us by how we treat the poor, our criminals, and our animals. Those future people may have more questions than answers when it comes time to judge how we did. Good night, kids. I've got the light.
Okay, and we have to call it.
Absolutely.